And the first estate, we lost it. We were practically scammed. The second estate, we lost it. It was still scam. The third estate, it was the same. In fact, that one led to police issue, military issue. If I had to leave my partners and say, whatever I put in, I leave it to you guys, sort it out. But the fourth one, luckily, we got it. But we also been deceived because the document they showed us had certain title. Right, it took us almost a year into it before we realized that the title was fake. Today, when people drag developers, you have no idea that some of us risk our life, right, to get those lands, to secure those lands.
That makes it difficult for us in diaspora who are interested in investing back home. This frightens us.
It frightens, but that's why those of you in diaspora need to respect and appreciate developers. Because developers go and do all those ridiculous processes. If you become as famous as me,
can you bear the heat?
Yes,
it's really hot up there.
Someone like him,
I can imagine.
The things that will come out. I have this group of people who are investors. They don't have any contract with me. They don't have any contract with our Dubai company. There's no written contract between us and them. We recommended a company they could buy property from, and they paid those companies directly, right? One is a nurse in the UK, one is a doctor in Saudi, $50,000. And then they pay to the company, not us. I argue that Doha looks to me like Dubai 15, 20 years ago. And any smart person wants to invest in Doha now, right? Because in the next 15 to 20 years, right, Doha will be way big, if not even bigger than what we have in Dubai. Once there's the right leadership in a nation, then that's the nation you want to invest in.
Lucid City, Qatar, or Echo Atlantic, Nigeria? Freeland. It's a tough one, yeah.
It is. These your questions are very tough.
Hello, welcome to yet another interesting episode of the Inside Podcast. It's always a pleasure to have you join us on this, our amazing episode, day in, day out, week in, week out. We're so excited to have you. And thank you very much for always being there for us. Thank you for following us through this journey. We have promised before and we'll keep promising that it's going to be an interesting journey in this season 2 of the Inside Podcast. So please keep the journey on with us and let's keep growing this amazing community because we have just gotten started. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? Let's build this community together. Click the subscribe button. Let's have you join this team and let's grow together. Today promises to be an interesting episode. We don't fail when we promise. So we've come again with yet another promise and we are about to deliver. We're very excited to have him and we know that he has so much to dish out to us today. It's someone who I would say has grown through the ranks. He has won the battle over poverty. Yes, I'm serious. He has won that battle over poverty and we will say he is a successful man. He is a mentor. He is someone who we can confidently say we can learn from and you can learn from. Let's welcome our guest to the studio. He is a Forbes recognized real estate mogul, a visionary entrepreneur. He won the 2023 Forbes Best of African Leading Investment Coach Award. He is the chairman of G-Test Holdings, a multinational powerhouse with ventures in real estate, digital marketing, agriculture, media, and many more. He will tell us every other thing that he does. He has so many things in his sleeve. He is the founder of Stephen Akintayo Foundation. Now you have a clue already of who we have in the studio. He has a vision of raising 1 million millionaires by the year 2050. I don't know how he's going to do that, but I know he's already on that path. With 70% of them from Africa heritage and others which are Africans in diaspora. This led to the creation of Stephen Akintayo Online Wealth University in 2020. He is the author of over 40 books and host of the Billionaire Habits podcast. And also he has an investment chart in Rolls-Royce. Say, I've watched that, I've seen it. I don't know how he came about that concept. Maybe we're going to talk about it during the show. He is also the mastermind behind the multi-million-dollar projects across Africa, the UAE, the UK, and the United States of America. So get ready as we dive in the wealth creation, global investment, impactation, mentorship, and many more. So join us as we welcome Dr. Stephen Akintayo.
Thank you.
It's a very long profile. It's a very long profile.
Thank you for
I don't know. I wanted to try to cut it short, but I was like, let me not deprive the viewers of knowing about you.
Thank you.
How has it been? Thank you for joining us on the studio.
It's been good. It's good to be in Doha. And Doha is Dohahin.
It's Doha. Because I was about to ask you, how's your Doha experience been?
I mean, you know better. You've been involved in some of the experiences with us, so it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun. It gives me the Dubai vibe, and I argue that Doha looks to me like Dubai 15, 20 years ago. And any smart person wants to invest in Doha now, right? Because in the next 15 to 20 years, right, Doha will be way big, if not even bigger than what we have in Dubai. And so a lot of investors have opportunity to capture you know, that whole, I say to people, you want to invest early, you want to come in early, you want to take advantage of economies like this early. I mean, we are great in Dubai, and I could just imagine if we had the opportunity to have been in Dubai 15 years
Yes,
ago.
before that, yeah.
Yes, before we finally moved in, we will have literally been so ahead, and that's why we're excited to be here.
But are you here in the direction of investing in Doha?
Absolutely. We are starting. We're working on registration right now in Doha, and I think before we leave, hopefully we'll even do an office opening ceremony, hopefully. And
Dr. Stephen Akintayo is coming to Doha.
Yes. And
that's the arrival of the king in the Doha market.
Yeah, and for me I'm just saying to myself, this is Dubai 15 years ago. This is Dubai 20 years ago. Key in now, jump in now. And I look forward to us building something powerful in this part. But we're starting small. We're starting as a brokerage firm.
Okay.
We're going to partner with other developers, learn the ropes. Hopefully in another 3-4 years, start buying our own land.
Okay.
And hoping to also develop. Because different countries, different rules. And sometimes when you enter the market, you don't understand what are the opportunities potentially available.
Okay.
But we're excited about Doha.
Lovely, lovely. But if I were ask, what actually attracted you to Doha, apart from the fact that Doha is having the feel of Dubai 20 or 15 years back, but what are the other attractions that brought you to Doha?
I think Doha had the right leadership. You know, I first started getting a bigger hint of Doha during the World Cup. And I could see steady leadership in how they navigated that World Cup. You know, first of all, massive infrastructure had to be delivered within a short time. At some point, people, you know, there were rumors, will it work, will it not work, will they have to cancel it? But Doha delivered.
Absolutely.
You know, and for me, for Doha to have beaten UAE, I mean, for Qatar to have beaten UAE to, you know, even get that World Cup.
That ticket, yeah.
That tells you there's a powerful leadership at play.
True.
Right.
True.
And once there's a right leadership in a nation, then that's the nation you want to invest in. That's a nation you want to invest in. If you can sense that the leadership is right, the mindset of the leadership is right, then and there's hunger, there's passion, and it's also relatively a young leadership.
Absolutely
Right.
correct.
Sheikh Al-Maktoum is in his 70s. You know, Sheikh Tamim is, I think, in his
early 40s.
Early 40s. So you can imagine what will happen. He has another 30 solid years
to build.
Being young, being, with vigor to build. You want to be part of that.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you because I've been here for a pretty long time and I've seen Qatar evolve over the years. And I've seen how the leadership of Sheikh Tamim has transformed Qatar.
Yeah.
Starting from the days of Father Emir, Sheikh Hamad, to handing over to his son, who has shown us that age is not actually a limitation in leadership.
True.
You can be young and still be a very successful and focused leader. You see the way Qatar delivered the World Cup you referenced now. It was the best World Cup ever in FIFA's history. All right, stadiums were built from scratch. All right, and these stadiums were fully air conditioned. First time in the world that 8 stadiums were used for the World Cup, and 8 of them are fully air conditioned, state of the art, GISA certified. Where can that happen if not having a visionary leader? All right. So talking about leadership, how do you think leadership has actually held back Africa?
In a great way, and I bet to also argue that the leadership that is highly lacking in Africa is parental one.
Oh,
Yeah, it's parental one.
tell us more on that.
The political leaders have a father, they have a mother. What did they put into them, right? So we love as a people to blame everything on the leadership, the president, the governor, but they are a reflection of the society. They're a reflection of us as a people. Africa doesn't know what is called cost. Africa doesn't want to pay anything for anything. Africans want to get it free. And it is a neo-colonial mentality, because the whole concept of colonization, the whole concept of slavery is give me everything you have, then I will be benevolent enough to start giving you anything you want. Okay, of course with conditions, but I am not the one to be giving you. And so we handed over Africa to our colonial masters, and they now said, well, we are best managers. So they carted away your gold, your diamond. They used a portion of it to take care of you. By the time you were fighting for independence, they've plundered you already. The largest number of gold, you'll be shocked, one of the largest country with raw gold is the UK.
And they don't have gold.
Yes.
As natural
And
resource.
they don't have that. Their land doesn't have gold, but they have the largest vault of gold. I mean, I think it was Idris Elba, one of those actors. They were taking him to see some of those vaults. He couldn't believe himself. Raw gold. Where did it come from?
Africa.
Right? So we have that unfortunate situation. And so, but the mindset is what is holding Africa back. Today, it's not the Western world holding us back. We are the ones holding ourselves back.
Yeah.
Because we have now inherited those mindset that says, don't bother about cost. Just get. So let's all vote, famous to become our leader. And once we vote him, we expect famous to make us rich. We expect famous. We don't care cost. We don't care how we famous do it. We don't care that there's cost, and if we don't care, we just do it. You don't do it, we're going to drag you. We're going to shout your name. We're going to call you out. And you see, nations are not built that way. They are not built that way. So there is a behind the scene on cost and effect, right? If we're going to build more roads in Africa, where would the money come from? If we're going to build more houses in Africa, where would the money come from?
Yeah.
If we're going to build better schools and all of that, where would the money come from? I'll give you a practical example. In many of the Western world, they have a simple formula. We want to build our schools to be one of the best of schools. We'll make it subsidized for, let's say, British citizens. But we will now recuperate the money to sustain that university from what? Foreign students. That's why an average African is having to pay the UK £30,000 for masters. That is barely 2 years. And that model is working.
Correct.
And they know it, the government know it, many of the citizens know it as well. But that is how you structure things. Okay, if we're going to give some people discount, subsidy, where will it be coming from? How do we, where's the check and balances? What will we also offer the foreign student so that they want to come?
Come in, the attraction, yeah.
The attraction. So they want to come and they're willing to pay their 40,000, 50,000, 30,000 to come. What class of people do we even take? Right? It used to be your first degree. If you notice, UK intentionally has gone down on that first degree. Now it's the second degree. right?
Yeah.
And then they're able to get more money from you. Data is showing billions of pounds coming in from Africa to the UK, and they're able to use that to keep sustaining the university, sustain the economy. It's not just that you pay 30,000 for the school; you pay for hotel, house
living
rent,
expenses generally.
And they're making money. So yes, leadership is an issue in Africa, but that leadership is largely general.
Okay.
My 10-year-old son understands that if he wants to buy candy, right, there is some of those candy that I have decided to give him, but he knows that there are some that he has to use his money to buy. He already knows that. In fact, it went viral when my son pitched his idea at one of our conference, my 10-year-old son, and my second son, but he's the one picking after business. And one of the speakers decided to invest. He's a group CEO of Wakana. Yeah, that was investing 22 million in his business. He sells these toys, but very educational for kids.
For kids, yeah.
And so I'll put in 2 million for 10%. My son said, no, 5%.
For 10 years old son?
10-year-old. So he said, no, 10%. I'll give you distribution. I'll give you this. I'll give you that. He said, okay. So
he already knew the percentage value.
He understands that. And by the time we were finishing that conference, more people came. Okay, give me 3% for 2 million. He made over 10 million. And he had always said he was going to be a millionaire. By the age of 10, he would be a billionaire by 15. He came back to his mom and said, no, I'll be a billionaire by 13. I don't need 15.
15 years.
The result, I've crossed the millionaire now. And he was there asking the mom, now that I have some money, can I buy certain things?
Yes.
The mom said no. But you can see the intentionality in training him at that young age. How many families are doing that? Right? How many parents are intentional? All they just do is go read book,
go to school and
go to school.
Become
but many of those curriculum have expired.
Sure.
We are coming to a world where doctors will not be needed anymore. AI
is taking over, yeah.
Right. Nurses will still be needed, but not doctors. In fact, some of the nurses will be robots.
We're getting there.
Yes. Some of the nurses will be robots. People don't know that a lot of what you are reading in school right now will no longer
be valid
in the next 10 years. In the next 10 years. There's so many essential things you go. I'm studying biology. I'm studying this. A lot of these things will not be needed. And you are still forcing your children to say, go and study it. You must study it. You must study it. Instead of giving them certain skills that will still be way valuable into the future. Negotiation, like he's doing, will still be valuable in the future. Sales and marketing will still be valuable in the future.
That's a lifetime business.
Exactly. Entrepreneurial skill will still be valuable in the future. Now, we're not stopping him from going to normal school. He goes there. He must get his study hard. But we understand that those type of education already having limitations. Now, if all of us do that in our families and begin to teach people values, that don't just get something for nothing. Then what will happen? We will no longer be voting people for giving us 10,000 naira.
There will be a mindset shift.
There will be a mindset shift. We will no longer be doing that. Right? We will only want to vote people and we tell them, don't give us anything. We just want you to do the right thing when you get there. And when the person gets there, he knows he has to do the right thing. But a world where we fight those who say there must be cost and effect. We fight those who say there must be price for greatness. They don't know they're extravagant. And we call it fraud. Right? We call the basic understanding of the concept of if you want something, you have to pay for it.
Right.
So, and then when people then become leaders, we're now angry that they are stealing our money because we didn't know that the man took a loan for what he paid you. Or a godfather
paid for it. And he needs to pay back.
He has to pay back.
It's the simple law of give and take.
Yeah. He has to pay back. There's nothing about he has to. He has to pay back. So those are things that needs to get fixed.
And in Africa, politics has become very expensive. Elections and winning elections has become very expensive.
But who is making it expensive?
It's the
politicians.
People.
It's the people.
It's the people because they are demanding more.
It's the people. It's the people.
Let's walk away from politics.
Yes.
Let's walk away. Let's look at you as a person. You've grown your business over the last few years, and it's becoming one of the globally recognized businesses across. But what I'm thinking about is, what is that secret sauce that you've used to scale your business in this very challenging market? Because real estate is a very challenging market.
It is. Well, there are a lot of principles we've used, but I think the first one is I call it knowledge capital. I invest a lot in knowing, in learning, in studying. I don't do what I don't know. And I so know it that I'm 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. Right. For example, we in Africa, one of the things people always complain about is, a lot of your estates, you've not finished building houses. But they forget to even understand the consumer behavior of Nigerians. Nigerians don't even want you to build houses for them. They want to build their house themselves. What they want is a land that is secured, that has basic amenities, that is fenced, that has infrastructure, and they want to build, and they want to build at their time. And they sometimes want to also buy the land and keep it for many, many years and sell it later. The most successful estate in the history of Nigeria is Banana Island. And it was not a housing, it wasn't a housing scheme. It was a land banking scheme, right? It was marshy land, they unfill it, they fence it around. In fact, in the 90s, if you want to learn how to drive and you are in Ikoyi,
you go to Banana Island.
Yeah, because it's the only place that they did the road and left it like that. And we're now waiting for who will buy land. They were selling from 1,000 square meter to 2,000 square meter per lot. So you go there, you just be driving to learn how to drive because there's nobody there. It's just empty land that they are fenced and they've done the road. But today now, it's become one of the most successful estates in the whole of the country.
I don't think, is it just the most successful or the most expensive?
The most expensive, of course. The most expensive.
Yeah.
But in terms of Naira and Kobo, expensive and successful goes hand in hand. The developer did it to make money, isn't it? The developers did it to make money. So that's the whole idea. So sometimes when I hear people say, I say, and why are they arguing? Because they are ignorant. They don't even understand how the system works, right? So they are wondering, you have 30 estates in Nigeria, over 30 estates in Nigeria alone, and it's not all of it that you've built houses on. The model is different because you don't think, I think. And I know that in the next 20 years, one of it, we named the street after Dr. Cosmos. And I remember how Dr. Cosmos kept saying, Stephen, who is your seer? How did you get this land? Because when you got this land, Dangote Jetty was not adjacent to you. The coastal road was not being done. Because at the back coastal road, one side of the entrance is coastal road. The other side is the old Lekki road, Lekki Express Road. So, and then now you are having Dangote Refinery a few minutes from you. So who is seeing this thing for you? How do you know where to buy?
How do you know that? Do you want to reveal the secret?
Well, one of the secrets is called research.
Okay.
You don't just buy land without doing research. When you're buying land, if I'm going to buy land in Doha, for example, I want to do research about every information of potential things that will happen in that area and those that have already happened. I'll give you an example. The second time I came to Doha, this is my third time, they took me to where the stadium that was used for the World Cup, the final.
That's Lusail Stadium.
Lusail Stadium.
Yeah.
And I went there and I saw that it's almost like a ghost town, right? It was in the night and we drove around. And I remember saying to myself, I could see huge housing deficit here. Of course, I saw also some housing development
coming up,
on.
yeah.
Okay. But if I'm to invest, anywhere not far from that area is my priority. Now, somebody else will say, no. Go to because when that same day, we now went to the souk market.
The very busy area.
Busy. Massive traffic. You couldn't even park and all of that. Somebody will think, yes, But the future of Doha is tourist, is immigrant.
Yeah.
Right? Just the same way with UAE, is immigrant. The immigrants are more than the locals in UAE today. So the future of Qatar is the immigrants. Right? And the immigrants are not going to necessarily want to live where the locals are. They want more modern houses. They are not as fascinated as to their culture, So they will want somewhere close to the stadium. And over time, what will happen? More events will become to that, because that's one of the best stadiums in the world.
Absolutely.
Right? So you do those kind of research and you project into the future, and then you go and wait for it. That's why I say you don't wait to buy land, you buy land and
wait for it.
It's a future game. It's a game of where will population move? What are drivers of population? Can I predict those drivers and position? So for us, for example, those Ibejuleki axis is still our largest concentration. We have almost more than 7 estates at the moment there.
In that area.
But we knew airport was coming. We saw seaport is already completed. The free trade zone is there. Largest refinery is there. It has a lagoon on this side. It has the Atlantic on this side.
On the other side, yeah.
Train is coming. That's a new Lagos. I better buy now that's cheap. Okay? Before tomorrow, I will now go on social media and be ranting about how property is expensive in Lagos.
But when it was cheap, you didn't go in for it.
You didn't go in for it. And I start complaining how Lekki is expensive, how Ajah is expensive. I would never forget one of my mentors sharing the day he took his mom to his house. It was after Ajah, one of those estates there. The mom, this was over 15 years ago. And the mom had to ask him, I said, I thought you said that you were in Lagos, because we were just driving and that.
I can imagine the length of that journey.
I thought you said you are in Lagos. Today now, is Ajah not heart of? If you say you even live in Ajah, particularly in certain estates in Ajah, they say you are rich. But this was his own mom saying, this can't be called Lagos. But today, see what has happened.
It's the future.
And so the argument now is, it's too expensive. But that is the secret of wealth. You position for the flow of the riches.
With the number of estates you have in this location you called Ibejuleki, how many years back did you invest in that area?
Funny enough, and that's one of the funny things about my story, every new level, I'm always having challenges. So we started the investment there in 2017.
Okay.
And the first estate, we lost it. We were practically scammed. The second estate, we lost it. It was still scam. The third estate, it was the same. In fact, that one led to police issue, military issue. If I had to leave my partners, I say, whatever I put in, I leave it to you guys, sort it out. But the fourth one, luckily, we got it, but we also been deceived. Because the document they showed us had certain title. Right, it took us almost a year into it before we realized that the title was fake.
That's interesting. But is it that when you say you lost first, second, third, is it that you didn't do your due diligence, or what happened?
So when people say due diligence, when it comes to investment in Africa, it's a whole different ball game. It's how do you do diligence in a very complex system, extremely complex. Right? Extremely, extremely complex. In Africa, for example, the person with the original document is the one that sells the land, right? It's that easy in Africa. If I have the original document of a land now, in fact, we've had those issues. In fact, that's why now we don't give original document to people's relatives. We use DHL to send it to wherever they are.
Yeah.
Because if I see clients who complain, they send their relatives to come and collect their document from us. The relative collected it. I want to sell it. Right. So that's the kind of country you are in. And the original matters, because who has the original document?
What about the name? The name on the original document with the name of the person holding it.
They will go and swear an affidavit.
For change of name?
For change of name. Yeah. And the law supports it. Yeah. The law supports it. There are so many, all manner. It's in the law. That I can come now and swear and say, well, this I'm swearing is mine. There's so much that people don't understand yet about the business and about real estate, about all of that. But in our case, it was a case of, okay, we make a deposit, because the typical thing, some of them will say, make certain deposit and then we can treat the rest later. We can't give you any document without you paying something, right? So at least pay something. So you pay something, and then you're expecting, okay, we'll come this day, get documents, put our signage, and then you get there, youth come out and say, where did you get this land? And I say, I said, no, we are not aware. And, in fact, it was the second one or the third one. The person was a chieftain of a particular political party and was telling us, I have a name. I'm a politician. Everybody know me. I can't dupe you people. Just make this deposit and we're good to go. Right? We're good to go. So it got so bad. Of course, by the next set, I've had to toughen up. And that's why today, real estate will make you tough. I had to toughen up. So we still had to go through, because you are dealing with families, so, it's still not modern. That's why people don't know the benefit of buying property from a developer. Because when you're doing with a developer, they are registered, you can take them to court. You're buying from Babaluku, Mama, Risika. They are nameless people.
Yeah.
They can disappear. I know a case of a particular property where these, they call them land grabbers, literally killed, one of the ballers on the land. Until today, nobody has seen him. Yeah. That's the kind of environment you're operating in.
So that makes it difficult for us in diaspora who are interested in investing back home. This frightens us.
It frightens, but that's why those of you in diaspora need to respect and appreciate developers. Because developers go and do all those ridiculous processes. In those early days, and what I'm telling you years ago, because now I'm no longer involved. I'm even now the chairman of the company, so I'm no longer a director, I'm just a shareholder. We've raised people, we've mentored people. But in those days, in fact, the ones I was able to keep, and that's why I tell people, look for a trusted developer and work with them. Because one of the ones I was not able to secure, and that's in Betuleki, I literally had to go with a combined team of military and police for the negotiation. We're not fighting. It was just for negotiation. So when I showed up, the family know that if someone that is coming like this without...
You cannot play games.
Without fight, you can't play games. And that was when we finally got the first property, then the second, then the third. But even in that, we got one we paid. It was even the king we bought it from. We started doing fence. Women came with charms. Old women, naked themselves, and were chanting incantation around the land. All my workers ran
away.
Right? When we investigated, I said the king didn't give them enough money. But the government gave everything in the name of the king. So if you even want to fight anybody, go fight the government or go fight the king. We are just investors and we paid. Right? So that also had to be managed. So today, when people drag developers, you have no idea that some of us risk our life, right, to get those lands, to secure those lands. I've been in an acquisition in those days where literally Omonile surrounded me with charm, over 30 of them.
Omolile, what does Omolile mean?
They are like, what word do we use? They're like youths who claim to be the owners, sons of the owners of the land. So, and it's just young people constituting themselves as nuisance on every land. They are not the original owner. They are not like the family selling to you, but they live in that area. Yeah. So when you come and say, we've paid this family for this land, we want to take possession, they say, no. Who are you? But ultimately, it's a money game. In some cases, they want more money. In some cases, it could be that another person has interest on that land and has positioned them to come after you. Yes. So there's
so much of games and politics in this real estate business.
There's a lot. General businesses. If you're operating at the high level, there's some things I just know.
Okay, with your story, with your journey, you've been in this industry for a decade or more. What will you say which deal actually broke you into your 6 and 9 figures?
Funny enough, I will say it was from the first deal. So our first estate was in Ikorodu, and it was, a king and a gentle person who had gotten, the gentleman had gotten over 250 acres. but he's struggling to sell.
Certainly.
Speaking from a lot of people don't know this about me. I started actually as a digital marketer. I used to help companies promote their businesses online, help them market their products and services. That was the business. So
Before you transited into real
yes,
estate,
into real estate.
what year
But
did that happen?
2015. But prior to that, I used to sell and get commission using my platforms. And that's why people think I'm famous now because of maybe business. No, I've been famous because I was already in that. We were like the early pioneers of blogging, of social media. Yes. In fact, some of the biggest blogs in Nigeria, my company built the website. Of course, they may have rebuilt today, but the initial beginning phase, we built the website for those bloggers. So we're very much involved in the foundation of what we now know today as social media. I was at the heart of it. But as in 2015, that opportunity came. I was doing training on digital marketing. This man was struggling to sell his 250 acres. So after the class, he came to me and said, you have integrity, you know how to sell. Can I give you 50 acres? As you sell, you pay me. That was how I started. Right? And 10 years later, this year, the rest is history, as they say. But every opportunity comes in a rag clothes. And that's why people don't cite opportunities. Every great opportunity comes in a rag clothes. So as much as it sounded like a good opportunity that we were getting this 50 acre, only to get to the property, and it was all water. In fact, there was no dry land to even get to where our own land starts. So I remember I used to use the man's because he has some field to where his own gate is. Ours was not supposed to be further down. I'll be using the man's land, because that's the only place you can stand.
Yeah.
And then use on his signage, he has the layout. So I would say
Use
our
that,
own starts from here. And then you see that tree down there. That's where our own will start from. And it was tough to sell. I'll bring my friends. Someone will say, Stephen, this is water.
Where do we start from?
Yeah, exactly. This is water, So, and for me, but we had no choice. I always use this word, do the impossible with the available. If you are going to be great, you have to do the impossible with the available. You have to. And so we had to start doing research about waterland, history of the world, history of cities that develop. What are they? And we discovered that every great city has water. Right? And that the most developed part of every great city is the part close to the water. And that waterland is way more pricier over time. Why? Poor people can't afford it. So ultimately, it's rich people who end up getting it.
That's logic.
Yes, real logic. And this became very, very strategic for us because we now changed the storytelling, changed the narrative, changed what we're teaching. And oh boy, this became game changer. And because over time, from that first 550 acre, we got more and more and more and more. And that's the rule. Just keep getting more, keep getting more. So some of those properties, when we're buying it in those days, $200, $250, now $30,000, $50,000, and you have 1,000 plots, you have 2,000 plots.
What a journey.
Yep.
What a journey. Well done. Now, you spoke about social media before. Let's go back to something that has been trending in the last 1 week or two. Now you know what I'm talking about. Now, let's talk about your 18,000 chart.
Yeah.
Because it's been a big hit on social media. You've been dragged in the African way of saying it, that you charge $18,000 for mentorship.
It's actually $20,000.
$20,000 for mentorship.
$2,000 discount, and they're pissed off.
No, $18,000 now for mentorship.
It's $20,000.
No, okay, you've given discounts. Yes. So let's work on the $18,000.
But it's not $25,000 by the way.
$25,000 for mentorship.
Yes, absolutely. No. Absolutely.
Okay, let's look at it from this direction.
Please, let's do.
I've checked over it over the internet. I've seen that you've not responded directly on this drug. Why have you been silent on this?
Well, so remember I told you I have that background. I have, I even had to take a course, a diploma course in the UK on digital marketing as far back as 2015. Right. So I understand how this works. First thing, you want to leverage on the trend, just ride it. Because you need to know that they are not ready to listen. It's called mob. Right? It's a mob action. And during a mob action, everybody is just enjoying the trend. They are not even doing it because they care whether it's right or wrong, whether they even have opinion or not. Everybody thinks it's wrong, then it's wrong. They are not using their own brain. They are not using their own mind to process it. First of all, can a poor person pay 18,000? The answer is
not
no.
possible.
So why is a poor person that already can't afford it be angry? It's obviously not yours. It's not meant for you. Move on.
They're angry because they can't afford it.
Yeah, but life is in phases, men are in sizes. You live your size part time, right? You cannot go to price Rolls Royce and then you are fighting Rolls Royce for selling at the price Rolls Royce is selling. Something's wrong. And I've seen people shout, oh, but those kind of prices shouldn't be put online. I don't understand. Does Rolls Royce not have Facebook page? Do they not have Instagram page? Do they not have Twitter page? They do. Okay? The problem I see that I have is that I came from a poor background. And my Facebook, if you notice, this is more on Facebook, not on IG. So because my Facebook is the oldest. So it has people who have known me 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Right? So it's a case of, we know this guy when he was struggling. We we were poor together. Okay, God bless her, he can't get money. You don't even remember us. You can't price her for. Like, if people like us who have known him way back want the coaching.
Yeah, we can't afford it.
We can't afford it. What kind of ridiculous thing is this guy doing?
But are you saying that your Facebook has the poor people? More of the poor people?
Funny enough, we just had more of those people I grew up with.
Okay.
Who knew my story growing up. Who knew I was, I was from a very poor background as well. Because the Instagram isn't budging, because most Instagram knew me when I was doing well.
Right.
So they already are used to that. Dr. Siri is expensive. The guy is not cheap. He sells luxury properties as well.
Why are you expensive?
Because value is expensive. Nothing of value is cheap. This studio is expensive.
True.
Right? We were speaking before we came here, and you were sharing with me how much it's cost you.
True.
Right? To produce this show.
True.
Okay? But the point is, you can see the quality of the lighting, quality of the camera. We're still speaking about Black Magic,
True.
6K, right? You can compare that with something much cheaper. And guess what? I have done over 3,000 videos on YouTube, free of charge. I have one of the best podcasts in Nigeria on my YouTube, free of charge. So what we did was to say, hey, for the poor, we're going to help. And we're going to make it free. But guess what I've known about the poor? The poor will never respect their level and will never appreciate those who are ahead of them. So it is the poor man's problem. It's not mine. And poverty is a mentality. It's not about your pocket. There are people right there in this controversy who are saying, I can't afford this today, but I believe one day I can afford it. There are people who are saying, I can't afford this today, but I appreciate that nobody can put a price on your intellectual property. Nobody can. It's your mind, it's your brain. Somebody's intellectual property turned him to Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. It was the idea. Tesla was an idea. SpaceX was an idea. It was intellectual property. Now, when you do coaching, do you know what goes on? You are giving people your ideas. And you are sharing that with them. You were in the testimony session last night.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you waited today and you saw the first man. In 1 year.
Yeah, but I saw that.
1 year. Just his Kaduna business is already worth over 2 billion. Just Kaduna. And he just got a new deal with Osun State government, 200 acres, different deals.
And he paid you $18,000.
Yes, he was one of them. But he came in and said he couldn't afford it. And he wanted to just be paying small, and I'm obliged. What they don't know is that this year alone, we gave 40 people that same coaching program for free.
For free?
40. people in Canada, Nigeria, of course, mostly Africans, Morocco, Dubai, in all those parts of the world as a give back for free. But the rule is their business needed to have gotten to $100,000. So it's a coaching program that is for certain businesses that have gotten to a level. Because you need to also understand, people at my level, if we're not careful, we speak over people's head. Right? Because it's 17 years ago when I started with 1,000 naira, with 100,000, all those small businesses. You are no longer in that frame of mind. So there are certain people that you can't easily help them as such in terms of mentorship, right? So you want to make sure that their business has gotten to a level so that the ideas you are giving them, they can execute it. So I tell somebody, for example, I say, your problem is marketing. Can you use this type of YouTube adverts? Try and put in $5,000 into your YouTube advert, and you're going to see that your growth, right, will go up, and you can make, right, $200,000 sales from that, and use this strategy. Now, if he doesn't even have the $5,000 to start with, that idea is good, but it's useless to him.
Yeah.
It's not applicable to him. So you must class people. And what we've done is to be able to say there are free courses, there are free programs for people who are starting from the scratch. It's there on YouTube for free. Are you aware? My Facebook has over 700,000 followers. My YouTube, right? One is 30-something thousand, the other is
20-something thousand. Yeah, I saw that.
So the question is, why didn't they go there? You see?
They're all stuck on Facebook.
Because they want the gossip. They want the gossip.
But the free content is not going on Facebook. It's more on the YouTube channel.
It's because YouTube is structured that way. It's on Facebook, funny enough. But it's easy, it's difficult to find. Facebook isn't structured for videos.
And the likes,
Yes, organically. YouTube is structured for videos. So if you go on YouTube, you can find 5 years ago videos, 6 years ago video. Now, those videos are still on Facebook, but it's not as easy to find it because Facebook is structured for posting. YouTube is structured for posting videos. Everything on YouTube is video to start with, so it's easy to find. So it's just about archiving, right? It's just about archiving. But for me, I'm enjoying it. It's been fun because guess what? More people kept paying for the coaching.
Are you serious?
Yes, even now that we increased it to 25,000, more people kept calling that they wanted to pay.
25,000 for coaching.
I've not even posted on that. I need to post today about how, in fact, my team was still telling me, if I'm one of them here in Doha, someone was begging him to say, okay, can I do 20,000? I can't do the 25,000. Yeah, and the person still paid yesterday.
You've heard from him. It's $25,000 now, no longer 18,000. No discounts again. So if you want to get Dr. Stevens,
if you want the free one, let them go on YouTube.
Or YouTube.
It's there. It's free.
His materials are there on YouTube. Yeah. If you want to get the free materials, please.
And I've written over 47 books. They're also on Amazon. They're also cheap. You can. The same thing on video is on books.
Okay, so they can actually buy your books on Amazon. You've heard from him. So get his books from Amazon. Go to his YouTube channel and get his free materials there. And if you want a direct coaching, get your $25,000 ready. He said he's not going less. But maybe if you discuss with him, he can give you a slight discount. Thank you very much for following us so far on this journey. I told you it was going to be an interesting section. Dr. Steven is loaded. He's a man full of wisdom, full of knowledge about the business, about mentorship, and you've seen it all. So please, if you want more of this content, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media platforms. Inside Podcast, you see us as Inside Qatar, at Inside Qatar. There you will find all our content. Dr. Steven, thank you so much for sharing so much with us. But I bet we just talked about $18,000 drag on social media, mentorship and coaching. Now, how important is mentorship to business growth?
Very important. Very, extremely important. I mean, the gentleman, that shared his testimony, imagine he didn't join that coaching, right? He will remain where he was. Because the coaching, remember, he was just a property agent. In fact, the land he now sold that made him to grow, he got the land to sell it to us as an agent. He was reaching out to my office, they were not responding. But what he had learned from the coaching gave him an idea of how you can start an estate from scratch.
On your own?
On your own. So he then said, since doctor staff are not attending to me, maybe I should attempt it. And I was able to get one of the investors started calling people based on what he's been taught.
Yeah.
And somebody put in some money. And that's how it started. And before you know it, today now, it's not just one estate. The whole thing is now in Lagos, it's now in different parts in under 1 year. Right? Under 1 year. From struggling that he had 3K in his account to multi-billionaire under 1 year.
Under 1 year.
That is what mentorship does. In what you don't know, you don't know. Right? And where I come from, they say, "Nteye baje leye ngbefo," is what the bird eats that it uses to fly. The quality of information at your disposal determine how ranking, how high flying you can go. You will never rise higher than the quality of information at your disposal. Your height, your success is largely a function of the quality of information. I myself that they are dragging. In March, I paid $25,000 for a 3-day course with my mentor called Grant Cardone. $25,000.
For 3 days?
For 3 days. In May, I'm resuming a program in Harvard, $150,000. Right? In fact, Grant Cardone alone, I paid him over $250,000. He's online. You can go and ask him. You can confirm. Robert Kiyosaki, John Maxwell, a lot of my international coaches and mentors, I pay them. The ones I don't pay, I serve them. I always say this, there are 2 ways to getting mentorship. You pay or you serve, but it's not free. And as much as some people can leverage on the trend, mentorship is not, is legacy. Mentorship is never, if somebody charge you, then it's not mentoring. What are they talking about? What are they talking about? Whether you pay or you don't pay, mentorship is always about legacy. Whether you pay or you don't pay, it's always about legacy. And what they don't know is that you are always paying. Why? Have you ever wondered why? Most Nigerians only have spiritual mentors, which is their pastors or imam, but they don't have business mentors. Have you always wondered why? The answer is because, and particularly for churches, and that's why some now got angry more recently, is that the pastor isn't necessarily charging you directly, but you are still paying. You pay offering. You pay tithe. And of course, they have to use it to run the ministry.
But they can argue that with you that that's an instruction from the Bible and they are giving it to God.
Okay. So the Bible that taught us about parable of talent, okay, and that the master punished the guy that went to bury his talent. Or you didn't read that scripture. What was the whole moral of that scripture? They give you $5, you multiply it to 10. They give you 2, you multiply it to 4.
That's business.
They give you 1, you dropped it. God is angry with you if you can't multiply, if you can't monetize the gift he gave you. And remember, nobody pay for talent, they pay for skill. When somebody is your mentor at my level, I'm not giving you just talent, I'm giving you skill because I refined it. I used it to grow my own business from 1,000 to being in 4 continents today, right? So I haven't done transaction over $1 billion in properties we sold all over the world. That is a skill. And I'm then transferring that skill to you. Whether I charge you, I don't charge you, you are still my legacy. Because you can't even quantify. The guy who paid $25,000, which he even now paid small, and ultimately is a multi-billionaire, is they giving me that billions?
It's his own.
It's his own. Right? It's his own. And compare what he paid to what the business is in 1 year and what it could be in the next 10 years. And I think what people fail to also realize, I don't live in Nigeria. I've not lived in Nigeria for over 5 years.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't live. I'm not a resident of Nigeria. I only visit Nigeria to visit family and to check our investment. I'm not even the director of our companies anymore. I'm just a shareholder. So, and that's why when investors sometimes reach out to me, they have challenges, one or the other, I just calm them down. I said, okay, I will try and reach out to management, but I'm no longer involved. We even had our management people come on TV, did a media tour so that people understand that it's no longer a Dr. Stephen Akintayo thingy anymore. Where, for example, doing registration in Doha now.
Okay.
Right? It's not going to be my name or my signature that is there because we're moving one of our subsidiaries in Dubai or one of these other countries to Doha. It's those directors in those companies that their details will be in Doha.
But it's still going to be your face. It's going to be you that people know.
So the challenge you when you're a founder, it's just like Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is no longer the CEO of Amazon. But when you say Amazon, your mind goes to Jeff Bezos because he founded it. Right? And there's still nothing wrong if Jeff Bezos still uses his platform, his fame, to promote Amazon. After all, if Amazon makes profit, he's still going to get
a certain percentage.
Exactly, because he's a shareholder. So, and that's what the company does. They leverage on the fact that I've built these multi-million followers all over the world. Okay? And why not the company continue to leverage on it? But they have always made it clear. There are publications that says Dr. Stephen is no longer a director. We are the ones running it. But people just have that obsession. When we drag his name, when we drag his reputation, when we drag this, people enjoy. And funny enough, I enjoy their dragging too because I will drag them back.
Yeah, but talking about Dr. Stephen Akintayo brand.
Yeah.
What role do you think branding plays in business development and growth?
It's key. It's key because people don't buy product; they buy individual. My edge is that I have a big name, and it's a great name, and it's intentionally built over the years. The disadvantage is also that those kind of dragging
comes to you directly.
Even when it's not something you are involving in anyway, right? For example, I have this group of people who are investors. They don't have any contract with me. They don't have any contract with our Dubai company. There's no written contract between us and them. We recommended a company they could buy property from, and they paid those companies directly, right? One is a nurse in the UK, one is a doctor in Saudi, $50,000. And then they paid to the company, not us. And the company, when they were signing the agreement with the company, not us, they signed that says if they default, they forfeit what they paid. Right? Today, all over social media, a nurse is crying over 25K paid to Stephen Akintayo. A doctor is crying over 50K paid to... Okay, nobody is saying, where's the evidence you paid to? First of all, Stephen Akintayo himself.
Yeah, but have you come out on the media to debunk this?
I don't need to, because if I do, it doesn't necessarily change it. It's the mindset. People don't like that you're successful. Get it? They don't like that. They're not happy. Okay? So the energy they leverage on is that people already hate rich people. Africans hate that you're rich. It's called the crab mentality. If it looks as if one of us has left the trenches and is going up, no, bring it down. No. Does he mean he's better than us? No. We must dirty him to show that, he's not better. He only mago his way out. But funny enough, we have court cases that we won over those issues, because one of them took us to court and we won. Because the court said, you didn't pay to these people's account. Maybe we should have released those court documents, but you need to also understand the sensitivity of social media. If something hasn't trended, and then you yourself go and trend it, it may be counterproductive.
Okay.
Because people will then say, hey, but even if Dr. Stephen says he doesn't know these people, but those people called his office in Dubai now.
There must be something to call up.
Right.
Yeah.
So why is he now suing? Do you see now? Because if we sue for defamation, which our lawyers are now doing, and we're doing $1 billion naira each, on each of those people. But we looked at it that if we do that earlier, people will say, can you imagine? In fact, they will claim they are a client. Remember I told you there's no contractual obligation between
both of you. Yeah.
No, they will claim that, imagine a wicked man suing $1 billion to his customers.
Yeah. Where does he expect them to get that money from? Yeah. It becomes a pity game.
Wahala. Person do business and you can't sue people wicked. So
the African factor.
Yes, it's a very. But now that you have all those viral conversations, you may now, but you even also have to be careful. You may want to wait for it to die down, because in the heat of it, there's nothing you still pull out. You remember I told you it's a mass movement, it's a mob attitude. So it's not about the logic, it's about Everybody say no. So yeah, let's go. No. It's just a mob movement. So when things go viral, because these are things we studied and we've helped. We've inorganically triggered viral conversations before because we're trained. That's what our company used to do. Like I told you before, we move into real estate. So we understand the whole dynamics. We know the pros, we know the cons, we know the advantages, we know the disadvantages. We also know the advantage of being famous. For example, there are a lot of my colleagues in the real estate sector who want to be famous like me. And I'm like, are you sure you can handle the heat? Right? I know somebody, for example, in Houston. Literally, I just was even in a church service and someone walked up to me and he gave me a card and it was the guy, he works with the guy. And he gave me the guy's card. And I said, oh, you work with this, my friend? Yeah. No. I'm no longer working here. And then before you know, the way he so discredit the person. And this is somebody who always disturb me, say, how come you are this famous? I want to also be that. I'm like, hey, if you become as famous as me,
can you bear the heat?
Yes.
It's really hot up there.
Someone like him,
I can imagine.
You think that'll come out?
I can imagine.
You get it?
Yeah.
It's both ways. A lot of times, and that's part of the issue with trending, right? People, and I tell people, don't be angry when you trend. Don't be angry because people are just projecting themselves in you. They hate themselves. And it's the hatred they have for themselves that they are expressing towards you. I cannot go out on social media and then be condemning you and be hating you because, and I don't even know you, if I love myself. Okay, imagine me, Steve Akintayo, go on social media because somebody posts something negative about somebody. Then I just go. And I'm talking, it's a different thing if it's politics.
Yeah.
Politicians are public figures. They
relate to everyone.
They vie for that position. You are the one paying their house rent. You are the one paying them allowance. So you have the right to scrutinize whether they are leading you right, their policies. But a private citizen, whether he's famous or he's not, and I'm happy we're doing this podcast because people don't know this. You don't have the right to just pick the person up and tear them apart. They are one of those who did it went to jail. Right? Because when our legal people, and that's part of, why, because I live from the heart, not just from the head. So at some point our lawyer said, enough, we're going after these people. So the first person they went after took him to file a court proceeding, and then he appeared in court, and the judge remanded him in prison. Hear this, pending when he pays 100,000 naira, less than $100, and he drops his international ID card. 3 weeks later, I called our lawyer. I said, I hope that guy has been released. He said, no,
he's still there.
I said, what happened? He said, couldn't meet bail condition. I said, you should better find a way to bail him out. I was still the one begging the lawyers to figure out a way to bail him out. So, seeing that experience, do I want to do it to the second, third, fourth person? Right? So when you then see people say, why is he not responding? Why is he not going after them? If I go after them, the same you will say, look at, let's show you the picture of when he was struggling,
Let's remind him of where he's coming from.
Yeah. He's using that money to send people to jail.
Oppress people. Yeah.
So there's no
balance. There's no way you can strike a balance on it.
No way, yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stephen. He has so much to say. He's a loaded man. We can sit here for hours talking to him. We have so many questions to ask you, but we can't just continue. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. But before we let you go, we have what we call the rapid fire question.
Okay.
I know you know that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you just tell us which one is your preferred answer.
Okay.
Marina views in Pearl, Qatar, or waterfront property in Banana Island, Lagos?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Of course it is, but I know you have an answer for it.
That's a tough one.
Marina views in Pearl, Qatar, or waterfront property in Banana Island, Lagos?
Waterfront property in Banana Island, Lagos. Why? They are both sold in dollars. Banana Island property is sold in dollars. And Banana Island right now has a higher scarcity. So the value appreciation is quite higher.
So you understand the Qatari market up to that level to choose Banana Island?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
great.
Yes.
GTEx Homes Qatar launch or GTEx Smart City in Africa?
GTEx Qatar launch.
Awesome.
And I'll tell you why. Why is because you have to grow to the capacity of your audience.
Okay.
Affordability is a major issue for Nigerians right now. We're hoping that, and as part of the projection of GTEx, that in the next 2-3 years, things will be more affordable. Then we can go heavy on housing. Because a lot of our colleagues are in debt now. Many are in crisis financially because they went to take loan, build houses. Nobody's able to buy. And the bank is doing foreclosure on those entire estates.
Okay. Number 3, you are offered free land in either Lusail City or Echo Atlantic, Nigeria. Lusail City, Qatar or Echo Atlantic, Nigeria. Free land. It's a tough one, yeah.
It is. These your questions are very tough. They are tough.
A keynote speech in a filled 40,000 capacity stadium.
Lusail City.
Lusail Smart City. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the Middle East. All structures in Lusail City are GISA certified. Minimum of 3 stars.
Trouble with my audience when they see this. I will say Lusail, and I'll tell you why. We already have massive land in Nigeria already. And we're intentionally diversifying. It's foolishness not to diversify. And for us, we're at a point where we're intentionally growing our, foreign exchange businesses.
Okay.
And we believe that in future, we'll be able to take loan against the properties we have outside of Nigeria to now be able to have enough liquidity to start building massive cities in Nigeria.
Okay, the last one. A keynote speech in a filled 40,000 capacity stadium or a closed roundtable with Qatar's top investors.
Because you didn't say whether the 40,000 will be in Qatar, I'll pick the 40,000.
He is up for Qatar. Thank you so much, Dr. Stephen. Thank you so much, viewers, for following us on this amazing episode. It's been so interesting talking to Dr. Stephen Akintayo. We told you from the beginning, and he did not disappoint. He does this every now and then, so it's not new to him. But I'm happy to have him on this podcast, and we know you've learned a lot. So thank you so much for Dr. Stephen for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're so happy to have you here in Qatar and also have you in our studio. But before we let you go, as our tradition at the Insight, we always give our guests something to go back with.
Thank you.
So this is from Mods at the Insight.
The Insight podcast. Thank you for this. I appreciate this. We'll put it in my office in the US.
Awesome. We are going to the US. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, viewers. If you have not subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? Please click that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell so that you'll be informed when we post our next video. Until next time, this is Famous Hallelujah. Thank you so much and take care.